everybody. Ahmed again, January 2nd, 2026. The new year is here and 2 days already. So this is amazing that we actually survived 2025. We leave the village idiot alone, just chasing the Somali and immigrants and roof workers and hard workers and leaving the crooks and criminals and give them release them for boarding them from prison and it's just amazing. Yeah, that's really I feel I'm back in Egypt today. Really, I it's been a while since I was aware of this wonderful book. Written by Dr. Ali Abdurrauf, an Egyptian architect, and he is really an amazing, thoughtful researcher, serious researcher, and just a thoughtful writer and historian, and just how he can talk about architects and building and urbanizations. It's like a living being, how they really relate them to people and place and really combine culture and the impact of architect on people and society and their values and their identity. And especially he's focusing on this new phenomena in the Arab world, the Dubai-zation of cities, that based on building ugly, vicious, tall burgs and buildings and skyscrapers and hotels and smothering the city that has no spirit. It's like the social aspect of the city is gone. It's all you see building and all you see hotels, and it's just a materialistic way of looking at how people should live and the places they should live in. But I think 2014, that's when he published this amazing research and put it all in a book called From Mecca to Las Vegas. Very provocative name and title, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk to him about how this name came about. And and I'm assuming he's talking about the latest development in the last 3 4 years. This is happening really, and I didn't know much about it. A lot of people did not know what was going on in Mecca in Saudi Arabia, and this is the spirit center of the Muslim world. 2 billion people look place 5 times a day, if it's not more, as to unite Muslims as a visual compass where people can feel they are joining billions, billions, millions of people. But this book, based on a lot of research, he is as an architect and professor and study the history and the philosophy of it. He's a professor. He got his degree, doctor degree, in creative architect and urbanization, and master degree in architect critics, or a critic of architects, and BS from this is from Cairo University, and he has been working and study, publishing and so many publications. Was awarded a lot of prize and degrees and scientific research paper, over 80 articles, research article, and speaking on tours, international conferences, So he is all over the places, and I've stumbled to one of his interview and one of his talk about how architects and how the new phenomena of urbanization in the Arab Gulf, especially in the Arab Gulf, or and at least Sisi in Egypt, built it away from everybody. But he's talking about how the money affects people way of building their cities and living in their cities. It's very hard to really to bring all the ideas and all those wonderful things that he brought in this book, in Mecca to Las Vegas, but he really gave it to them. He really hold no bunches there, and he was very honest and scientific and methodical, and he thoughtful, and talked about the relationship between place and reverence and religion and place and history and place and culture and people and how that affects people's spirit and people uh, define people identity. Like people go to the shopping malls to express their identity. And we used to have story and literature, love story used to have in a library and museum. Now love story happens in Walmart and Target and shopping malls. And culture, our life now has been commodified. Our religion, our values, our feeling is a commodity to left victim to the marketplace for the highest bidder. So we're going to be talking to Dr. Ali Abdul Rauf about his book "Min Mecca ila Las Vegas," and we're gonna learn a little bit about him. Here's an interesting story. He lives now in Washington D.C. and from Min Mecca ila Las Vegas, and the transformation of this revered city that it was, all the experience of Hajj that you go to, like you visiting the past, at the time of the Prophet, his house, his city, his building the same way 1,500 years ago, and you get that spiritual charge. So you kind of cleansing your spirit by some hardship and by looking at something hasn't been polluted or diluted by modern life. That was the whole purpose of the city. But now, you are in Las Vegas.
من يجرى يقول هذا مش معقول من يجرى يقول هذا مش معقول بنزور ونبكي عالكعبة وقبر الرسول قالوا لي الدمعة بتهدد أمن الأسطول بنزور ونبكي عالكعبة وقبر الرسول قالوا لي صوتك بهدد أمن الأسطول ابكي في صدرك هنينا لا تقلق راحة راعينا ابكي في صدرك هنينا لا تقلق راحة راعينا راعينا حاكم مش حاكم حامي أسطول واهم مش فاهم الأسطول بيحمل بترول راعينا حاكم مش حاكم حامي أسطول واهم مش فاهم الأسطول بيحمل بترول من يجرى يقول إخواتنا عن بيت الله منعتنا من يجرى يقول
Wonderful. I will delve into this, but I cannot start this interview without asking you the tough question or the easy question. How did this name come about? This name is controversial for some,
Right.
very bold.
Right.
Sometimes you say, the book or the cover. This is,
Totally.
the book from the title. So naming that book from Mecca to Las Vegas, you made your argument right there.
Sure. So actually, in general, I write extensively. I write in Arabic. I write in English. Some of my writings also were translated in a good number of languages, and because of this idea of good portion of my intellectual energy is geared towards writing. I also invest a lot in the titles of my books, the titles of my essays, even the titles of my lectures. And the reason is, as you rightly said, the title is not only a way to attract the readers as a sort of a commercial kind of marketing to the book or to the essay, because this is not my intention, but more importantly, more profoundly, it's it's a sort of a provoking and a stimulating tool from the very early beginning of just looking at the cover of the book. And hence the title is like it's carrying a responsibility. It's delivering a message. It's raising a big red flag. It's a big bill towards, well, wait a minute here. There's something happening in this context, or there's something wrong, or we need to examine this more. But also, I want to elaborate more on the notion of the title of my book, because it's the main title is actually extended. So it's من Mecca إلى Las Vegas, or
Yeah.
from Mecca to Las Vegas, and then critical reflections on the notions of architecture and the sacred. And this is, to me, the extension of the title is fundamentally important, because this is the essence of the book. I was trying to relate the two important notions: my domain, architecture, and my belief that architecture can help in enhancing that spirituality of the place, the sacredness of the place.
Uh,
And then the idea of Las Vegas, a lot of people rejected the book and criticized the book even without reading it, including some authorities in Saudi Arabia. And this is because of just how dare you to insert Las Vegas and connect it to Mecca, right? But the issue that when you go through the book, the relation between Mecca and Las Vegas was not seen from any typical prototype kind of approach. I was only considering focusing on the logic of urban development, because as you see in my book, it's absolutely astonishing that you see that the same approach to urban development that's adopted in the strip in Las Vegas is exactly what they're doing around Mecca. And this is why I thought making this connection would invite the reader, and more importantly, would invite the authorities in Saudi Arabia to reconsider what they're doing around Mecca.
And I wrote this article a few years back that Las Vegas is the lost honest city in America. You know, they don't pretend like Boston, New York, their culture and art, or they're just in your face. You know, you come here, we know exactly what we stand for. And if that's what you want, gambling, sex, whatever, we'll offer it to you without any pretense that we are culture. You don't see museum, you don't see anything, just gambling, casino. That's all what we offer, and we're not shying, we're not apologizing about it.
I fully agree with you. Las Vegas was established exactly like that. It's right in the heart of the desert of Nevada, and the idea was this is the Sin City, right?
Yeah.
You go there to have fun. And ironically, as your colleague said, the representation, the shallow representation of paradise is that it's about women and rivers of milk and wine and so on and so forth. And all of this is available in Las Vegas. So,
Yeah.
so your friend is suggesting, using this metaphor,
But I can
that
tell you there is no virgin there.
Oh yeah, oh
It's
yeah.
milk and
Oh, totally, totally.
okay,
But
okay.
what is ironic here? What is ironic here, and I'm sure that you are aware of that, is that on the level of leisure and entertainment, and also on the level of what exactly is the economic base of Las Vegas, there is a substantial qualitative change. Number one, they started suddenly to gear for families. So it's not only about single men going there to have fun. Now, a
Yeah,
lot of facilities are programmed and catered for families. More importantly, University of Nevada is developing in a very accelerated manner. They're getting excellent researchers. They're focusing on education, qualitative contribution, and what we call knowledge-based urban development and economy and so on. So what I'm trying to say is that even Las Vegas, with all what we know about it, in the challenge that we are facing in our contemporary time, in the incredible competition between cities, every city manager should be aware that we need to do a bit of changes. We need to be aware of what's happening around us. Because to be honest with you, what is offered in Las Vegas, which was pioneer 40, 50 years ago, is offered all over the place now, including Dubai. You see
yeah.
what I'm saying? So it's not unique anymore, and therefore I would argue that even Las Vegas is shifting gear in terms of their identity and why they want people to be attracted to it.
Point that the development of Mecca, it really disconnect. It just has nothing to do with the evolution, the organic development of the place and the history of it, and
Right,
how this all of the sudden Mecca decided to be Dubai or to be a
right,
modern Western city. Without looking at the history of it, what signified to billions of people, and the identity of it, and all of the sudden it's a different things, and that is your biggest critique of this development. Before you answer that, how long have they been doing this? Because they are like, it's like they've been doing it in secret. Nobody's talking about it. There is no any kind of discussion or debate or I mean, you hit a mosque or a church, so you build something, the whole media is all over the place. But
right.
how come, how long have you been doing this? Why there is no awareness of what they've been doing?
Sure, sure. Well, they were doing that, and this is to your surprise. This level of development is at least for the last 2 decades. So you're talking about 20 years of creating and erecting all of these sort of high-rise buildings and skyscrapers around the most sacred spot on earth for Muslims, which is Al Kaaba. But also there is an answer in terms of what you're saying, why there's no a critical discourse regarding that. Because also the punishment is very severe, right? If you question stuff like that, they have different kind of approaching the people that would raise red flag regarding what's happening. Well, number one, they will attack you from a religious point of view. You are not a good Muslim because you are attacking the people who are serving the Hujjaj, the pilgrims, to go and
They're
perform. Now,
doing you a
so
favor.
oh yeah, so suddenly you are the enemy of Islam, right?
Oh, wow.
Number two, because also of the ability to prevent you from coming to events, from attending conferences,
Ah,
from spreading a negative words about you, and so on and so forth. So people in general, particularly in the Middle East, are kind of reluctant to deal with that. What is more painful is that also some and I'm sure you're aware of that. Some research centers in the US and in the West are financed by money coming from Saudi Arabia and different kind of Gulf countries. And sometimes they pretend that they are doing analysis, but in some topics, they will never talk about it. So there were some voices. I have to share this with you. There were some voices, but not to the extent and the importance and the significance of the Kaaba for Muslims.
You talked about, the old ways of going to Hajj, the suffering, the effort,
Right,
the
right.
difficulty you go through. And that is part of the spiritual experience. And once you go there, you can see Mecca is the highlights of the place. It's the center, it's the core, it's a compass for billions, millions of people. Talk to us about the two experience that you personally went to the Kaaba and you followed your grandfather's advice.
Sure, sure. Well, number one, as you rightly said, the notion of the journey is absolutely important. I am a professor of architecture and urbanism, but for writing this book, and also because I was connecting architecture and the sacred, I had to do a lot of readings regarding the process of Hajj, not only for Islam, because, Hajj is performed in a lot of cultures.
Yeah.
And in all of these cultures, Hajj is not only about being in the sacred place, but how you go there, how you travel to it. Because in the process of traveling, in the process of relatively suffering, it's a sort of a mechanism, a tool, a process to purify yourself. So when you reach this sacred space, you are already a pure person. You are born again, and so on and so forth. And they use this in a different kind of forms and metaphors, and so on and so forth. And some of my readings were related to Ibn Battuta, the very famous Moroccan traveler. And when you examine his travel from Morocco to Mecca to perform Hajj, it's incredible. It's incredible the levels of interactions, the level of being in different cultures and different countries and different discourse regarding what exactly we're doing and what is the philosophy of Hajj and so on and so forth. Now, to me, that was really important. Now, going to the notion of my grandfather's story, and as you rightly said, the very first time I went to perform Umrah, I was actually going there for a conference, and I consulted my grandfather because he was a very spiritual and religious man, and he told me, as you exactly described, go there with the highest level of humility. Feel that you are extremely, extremely humble and look down to earth, look down to the floor, and don't worry. You will never fall down because God would guide you. That was his actual words.
Really?
So you keep on walking and looking down and don't open your eyes until you are in the heart of Sahan al-Kaaba, which is the main space where you see the incredible massive of the black cube. And I did that. And quite honestly, my heart was jumping out of my chest because of the overwhelming feeling for a young man. I was like, I don't know, maybe 28, 29, something like that. And I felt the power, I felt the spirituality and so on. Now, I did the same process again. But when I opened my eyes, also obeying my grandfather's advice, I was totally confused. I was not able even to see the Kaaba. It was that dramatic because I came from a door which they called it a King Fahd door,
King
and when I
Kfar.
and when I opened my eyes, the new skyscraper and the clock tower and the hotel, Fairmont Hotel, they literally sucked the Kaaba to the extent that I was not able to see the Kaaba, and more painfully, I was not able to focus in any kind of spirituality or any kind of sacredness because suddenly the critical gene in me jumped and I started to ask questions why this is happening here, why we should do that in adjacent to Kaaba, and so on and so forth. So that was basically the sort of the initiator of writing this book, and this is why I called it the four shocks. because those that the two shocks, and then I had another shock when I went to the Vatican also, because
I see.
as you know, in the Vatican, with all what we can claim regarding the corruption and Mr. Berlusconi and the mafia and so on and so forth, but they cannot dare to do anything higher than the Vatican, the very famous St. Peter's Dome. And I asked there, and because they said this is a symbol of the religion, it's a symbol of dominance, it's a symbol of control, and therefore no one, either in the Vatican or in all Italy, would accept that any built environment component would compete with it.
You know, if they're gonna over commercialize the Mecca for the money and wealthy, and people sitting in their seven stars hotel, as you said, and sipping whatever, and look down on on the millions of people down.
Exactly, exactly.
That physical setup, whatever, you're looking down on people. Well,
Right.
you are above. You're not God.
Absolutely.
You're not God. God is not above anymore. You are the one who's above. And it seems like from the people describe it, it's like a drive-through Hajj. This is not really a hardship. But also, you mentioned the other shock, or I'm not sure this is the fourth one, but you compare Mecca to Jerusalem, and how, in fact,
Sure.
the Dome of the Rock and the sanctuary and the revered places is still.
Israel is doing plenty, not claiming, I mean, it's obvious. They're doing plenty of negative uh, 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 acts and deeds to the incredibly resistant and honored people in Palestine. But at the same time, they were not able to do substantial change in the anatomy of this part of the world. And the reason, again, is that they acknowledge the sacredness of the context. They know that they cannot do that because even the rejection will be coming from within. So the Jews would oppose that, the Christians would oppose that, and the Muslims would oppose that. And you are absolutely right. That is also, relatively speaking, there is a level of democracy and a level of you can listen to the other voices that would also make you think twice before making any decision. But the point I'm trying to make is that when you compare the context of Mecca, Kaaba, and the context of Vatican, and the context of Al Masjid Al Aqsa and Qubbat Al Sakhra, you will be really amazed and you will start to formulate a very legitimate questions. Why we are only doing those skyscrapers and ugly buildings around the most sacred space for Muslims, while the Christians in the Vatican, they are not doing that and they will never do it. And also Israel with all what they are doing in Daffa and Gaza and so on and so forth, but they were never able to even dare to change the image of this context. And I would argue that the main reason for that in the case of Jerusalem and the case of the Vatican is the belief in the sacredness, the belief of the power of the place, the belief of the importance of maintaining the spirituality of the place. I think this is fundamentally important. Now, if I move to DC, I'm sure you know that one of the most vibrant, important public spaces in the world is right in front of this building, the mall. And the mall is basically a garden. It's a green space. It's a public space, open for everyone, not related to religion, not related to gender, not related to age, not related to economic level or class or what have you. Anyone can walk, anyone can enjoy being in this kind of open, free spaces. So it seems to me that having an open public space right in front of the capital, as if, as you rightly alluded to, as if it's a message to people that you are the real power. You are the maker and the contributor to the whole narrative of democracy in the States.
Your grandfather give you advice when you go to Mecca. I'm giving you
Right.
advice when you are in Washington, D.C.
Sure.
Do not visit the Saudi's ambassadors. That's all I'm gonna give you.
They will never allow me. they cannot,
Even if they do, I
unfortunately,
won't
they,
trust them. Get him in
uh,
with what they've done to Gamal Khashoggi. But let's talk about when they make an argument. They said we are modern. We need to develop things, the safety and the traffic. We make it easier on people. We build ramps. We build the hotel convenience. And people don't have to really die or thirsty or stumbling on each other. So that they actually making an argument, which is a very lame argument. I mean,
the main argument that the Saudi authorities are using and saying all the time is that we are doing that to help the Hujjaj, people coming to perform Hajj and perform pilgrim, which is, I fully understand and I totally appreciate also. No one can deny the incredible effort that the Saudi authorities are doing to facilitate this and help and so on and so forth. But this is not denying the fact that the Las Vegas model of urban development is there and it's happening. And just a couple of months ago, a new project was declared around Kaaba called King Sulaiman Gate. This is the name of the project, Bawabat al-Malik Salman. And it's also a jungle of skyscrapers around the Kaaba. Now, my point is, in this sacred context, in this spiritual context, and if you relate this to what I was saying regarding the importance of the trip, the importance of the journey towards the sacred place, why, number one, why I have to put people in 20, 30, 40, 50 floors hotels to look down on the people performing Hajj and Umrah and ask the Mufti, who is the Imam, the Sheikh, to issue a fatwa saying that if you pray in your room in the hotel or some prayer halls in the hotel, it's exactly as if you are praying in the main space of Kaaba. This is illusion. And when you emphasize that at the same spot where people are suffering moving from doing the different rituals of Hajj and other people are enjoying an ice cream buffet, this is incredible. This is incredible. This is totally against the main philosophy of Hajj. Why people dress in white and Hajj and literally fully naked, and then they put a sort of a white towel, because it's as if you are dying, as if this is the same kind of preparing your body to die, right?
like coffin. You're wearing your
Exactly,
coffin.
it is kafan. It's kafan. It's you are getting ready to meet Allah. And if this is the philosophy, all the materialistic difference should be totally diminished. And particularly when you are so close to this spiritual context. So what I was trying to say, and this is why I suggested in my book what I called it the spiritual protectorate, because a lot of Saudi authorities were trying to say that Ali in his book was only criticizing and he's pushing us away from the Islam, the beauty of Islam and our role to sort of help the Hujjaj and so on and so forth, but he was not able to provide a solution. Actually, I did. And my solution, I had a full chapter for that, which I called it the spiritual protectorate. In Arabic would be al-mahmiya rawhaniya. Meaning what? Meaning that this context, the Kaaba and the surroundings area, you have to maintain it as humble as you can. And to make the Kaaba the real center, the real destination, the real place where people will feel believe in their hearts. And then when you go away gradually from this center, do whatever you want, but you will have excellent modes of transportation that will bring the Hujjaj. I mean, I was talking about Ibn Battuta coming from Morocco to Mecca on a camel. How about if you come 30, 40 kilometers from Mecca using an underground or a bus or whatever, and keep all of these hotels and all of these kind of foreign investments, and also Kentucky and Starbucks and I don't know what kind of places surrounding the edges of Mecca. Push it away, push it 20, 30, 40 kilometers from the essence of the place.
Well, we are almost there. Don't
I
go
would
away,
do that.
please. Don't go away.
I would do that. I would do that, sir. I would do that.
I'll end
Sure.
this and we'll start the second meeting.
Sure, absolutely. I would do that.
Thank you.